due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Mendon Select Board is convening by telephone conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Okay, Mark.
Okay, so just again going over some of the ground rules for the meeting. As the chair, I'll introduce each speaker and will allow members of the board to comment or ask questions, and please hold until your name is called. Remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Remember to speak clearly so that we can take accurate minutes. Let's see. Chair will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify names and addresses only. Each vote taken this evening by the board will be conducted by a roll call. Okay, first item on the agenda is citizen statements and petitions. Is there anyone? Okay. Correspondence to the board. Didn't have any.
None.
Consider temporary outdoor dining area, outdoor table service, on-premises alcohol, common victualler, license approvals for Grandview, Mendon.
So you want me to do the motions, Lonnie, or do you want to do them? I don't care. Me? I can't hear you. He's muted, but.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. It'll be easier. Yep.
Yeah. I move to approve the temporary outdoor dining area, outdoor table service, on-premise alcohol, common victual license for GV Mendon Grandview, pending approvals of the building department and public safety.
Second.
Discussion? I really think there is any need for any discussion. All in favor?
Tenio,
Burke,
aye.
aye.
Real aye. Okay. Discuss Trask property. Kim, do you want to start with this?
Sure.
Is
Cindy
council,
here? Yeah, should be.
I don't see her.
Do we want to wait for Cindy then?
Wait, you want to text her?
Sure, but now I gotta get up and get my phone.
Yeah, I mean, this is just.
I mean, do we need Cindy for this?
I don't think so.
Well, we probably do, since she's the one who's been handling it on behalf of the town.
Ann on either? I know Ann wanted to talk about it.
I mean, we've already accepted.
Well, if we're ready to just vote on it.
Hold on. Well, I mean, I can take you, so you may recall at a previous annual town meeting or a special town meeting, I can't remember which one, we were presented, the public was presented the opportunity to get a 60-acre parcel of land, the Trask property. The town voted on it with the condition that we would accept it as long as the selectmen were acceptable to the conditions. A number of months have gone by, a couple of different options have been considered, but at this point, the trustees would prefer that we give them direction on whether or not we're going to accept the parcel or not. So they sent us a letter asking for the board to vote to affirm that they're going to accept the land as presented at the town meeting.
Yeah, so the only question, I mean, we definitely can just vote it again real quick. The only question I have is this land is going to be owned by the town and controlled by the town. It's not going to end up in one of those land trusts that we were dealing with before. This is town-owned land. There's nothing is going to be, just because we might have to make decisions based upon the fact that we're accepting those buildings now. And I just want to make sure we have flexibility if we decide we want to do something and bring it back to town meeting. That's all. We don't have to get legislation changed. So
my understanding from my conversation with Cindy today was that we would accept responsibility. So the original vote was with a life estate. The details of that life estate can still be determined by the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I get it. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be a Metacomet land trust or have, conservation restrictions on it that we still have a lot of flexibility with it to decide what we want to do with it.
Well, it's still the part of the condition of the acceptance is that it's going to be used for either open space.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
Yep,
right.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Got it. But we own it. We have control of it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we already vote to accept this?
The town voted to accept the
But
land.
the Board of Selectmen did as well.
No, I
The
don't
board hasn't voted on the conditions of the acceptance.
We did not vote on the acceptance. I believe we voted on the acceptance.
No, sorry. So the town voted on the acceptance. The board voted to put it on to town meeting. The town gave the board the authorization, like every contract that the board does, to finalize the agreement in which the town accepts it.
I say we go with the will of the taxpayers. The taxpayers wanted it. They voted in a town meeting. I'd say we take it. That's what I say.
Move it.
What's that, Lonnie? I couldn't hear you.
Just go ahead and make the motion. We'll vote it.
Mark, do you want me to just make the motion now, or do you want me to wait for Cindy?
No, you
Okay.
can go ahead. I think we're good.
I move to accept the gift of trust property from the trustees of Harvey J. Trust Agreement.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Burke, aye.
Real aye. Great. Okay, consider Applewood MOU.
So I spoke to Ann about this earlier. I don't see that she's on the call. She wants to speak to you about this, so we can either skip over this and see if she joins, or we can table it till next time.
Okay. I'll text. Consider Mendon Upton Regional School District's request for CARES Act funding.
Do you want me to just read the motion, or do you want Kim to talk first, Mark?
Have Kim talk through it.
Okay, so is Jay on the line, or Dr. Fitzpatrick, or Don Moran? I'm starting to get a little concerned that only our immediate people are on this call, and maybe there's a problem, because they were all going to be in attendance.
There's 3 other people dialed in besides us.
Okay, so one is Chief Kersey. I don't know who the other two. I'll give a little overview, but basically I needed them to explain their requests to the board so that I could go ahead and include portions or all of them in our submissions for the CARES Act. As you know, we received $550,000. We've already submitted for about $330,000. Nipmuc had asked for $183,000 initially for iPads for the 5th graders over at MISCO. BVT is asking for $25,000, and then there's an undetermined amount at this point for carrying costs for the police station project that could also be submitted. So I wanted to have them explain a little bit further what their requests were for, but since they are not here, I'm just going to do some quick math. I know that Upton is also funding in an equal proportion for both of them. We do have the funding available. So really, I just need the board's blessing if that's something that you want to do.
What was the total grant for? What was the total, Kim?
550 approximately.
We just,
If we give 183 to the school and 25 to BBT, that leaves $12,000 for potential carrying costs for the police station project. Which I think.
Sorry to interrupt you, but apparently there's people on they clicked on the link on the agenda and they're on a different meeting. So.
All right. That makes more sense to me.
just call World Band for all your technology needs.
Now Jay is calling me now. Hold on.
I can't hear you, Lonnie.
Hi. I understand that you're all on a different call.
On the agenda.
We are also on a link that we clicked to get on the agenda. So we're going to try to solve that right now. Just hang on, okay?
Okay, well, I got the agenda on the website. Maybe you should just go and click on that. I can't imagine we're going to two places.
We must have all clicked off of one that was emailed to us and they all clicked off the website. Okay, we'll solve this, okay?
All
right, bye.
Check the website, hold on.
I'll send the
Can we just
agenda.
merge the two?
No, I mean,
Tim,
it
I
makes,
clicked off the one of the website, so, I dialed in though.
That's weird.
yeah, but they're created equally. So if the phone number matches the link, because it's separate phone numbers for each link.
Okay, yeah, I used the website to get in. I didn't use the link.
You use the website. Let me, hold on. Let me see if I can get
Yeah, I
on there and
printed
tell
out the
these.
agenda from the website and got on.
Hold on.
I'm gonna get some water while we're doing that.
See, Mark, I'm not the only one that has technology issues.
That's all right. Perfect.
Yeah, we just wanted to break you in the right way.
So it probably should go on the published one, correct?
Bond is on mute. Is he talking to someone?
No. Don't close it.
Dan,
We're gonna close. We should
Can you
close
hear
this
me,
meeting.
Dan?
We'll go to the other.
Yes,
one.
James.
Oh, my
okay,
God.
I'm just wondering, if we have a question or something, if we're gonna be heard, that's all.
We should.
The other thing you could do is
We should move to the other one. There's over 10 people in the other one.
Okay.
So go to the website and click on that link.
Shouldn't we adjourn this meeting or something and call the other one back to order?
I don't think so. I'm just gonna start the recording. We'll put them together on the website.
Okay.
Is there a different conference ID number, Lonnie, if I'm calling in? Because I did it off the website and that's got me here with you guys.
Hold on.
Oh, hang on, Dave.
What number did you call, Dave?
I called the 347-467-1434 and the conference ID was 240-993-702.
Okay, hold on.
That's the same.
No, hold on, but something's not right. I'm gonna get you the information now. Hold on.
Is there a dial-in number where he could be heard?
Hold on. Yeah, hang on a second, guys. Hang on. We're gonna come into the. There was 2 links for some reason, so just hang tight.
Okay, this is getting a bit bizarre.
Here it is.
I wonder if that's where Cynthia's.
Yeah, but so it's weird that the phone number. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay, so try dialing in and see if you get connected.
I'm getting, yeah,
You need a conference ID.
what's going on?
I think Lonnie is in the other meeting, so we're hearing that.
No, it's not that. My computer is.
So the problem here we have is nobody's. They're gonna have to come to this meeting because. So I'm gonna have to put the link in the. They're gonna end up in here. Everybody dialing in. All right. They're gonna have to click the link to come back over here. I don't know where they got that. They're gonna have to click the. I'm gonna have to send them the link. Holy crap! Hold on.
993.
Holy crap! Hold on.
770. Okay, good. Okay. I'm gonna try calling in. Let's see if he makes it. I'm sure. Michael, we're still connected. It's not gonna work. Let me disconnect that.
How to use the cell phone and stuff.
You know what it is? It seems like that we've been on so many different things. We've got Zoom, we've done StreamYard, we've done Google meetings, and this is a Microsoft Teams, so it's all these different environments.
I get it. What are you using to PPT?
1 4
They're
3
using
4.
Zoom and TV. Yeah.
What was
I
the
just
number? David, what was the number? The conference ID again?
The conference ID that I dialed into is 240-993-702.
Yeah. Got it. All right, hold on. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to get out for a minute. I'll be right back.
Oh. I thought it would be done by 7.
We will be.
Good, because I got to go up the street to the restaurant. Someone just said they saw a whale in the harbor today.
Really?
Kind of surprised about that. See, this is my view.
Okay. That's very nice.
Isn't it?
I
Yeah.
thought that was fake. That's great. There you go.
Oh no, it's real.
It's real, yes.
The one time I used the real background. Well,
It's a mystery.
is it?
Via phone. I couldn't get this. Oh, but I'm in the meeting. I guess I'm in the meeting now via phone.
I
Can hear
forwarded a couple of people the link. I don't know if that's helpful or hurtful.
Sure.
I feel like I'm on Jeopardy.
That's right. Good.
That's been playing in my head.
They're still fucking around.
Some people are finding their way over here, so that's a positive thing.
Thank you.
And
Hi. I think, are you going to review like what happened at the beginning of the meeting?
Yes, we can review
I'll
it.
run through.
We just need to get over.
Thanks.
Again, all we did was Trask and the Grandview, and they were both approved.
People might have questions.
Yeah, hi, this is Kelly. I'm the GM over at Grandview. I do have a few questions.
Kelly,
Yeah.
you go to the other meeting, it's the wrong one.
Yeah, I just popped over to the new meeting so I can see Mark now.
Right.
Okay, so hang up from this one.
Oh, how do I do that?
Okay.
Hold, please.
Now I don't hear anything.
Am I in the right one?
I don't
Is this
know.
the
I
right-
hear, yeah, okay.
Him and
Somebody,
Mark, but I don't know how you go back to the old one to hang up on it. I only have one meeting here now.
I
There
just
should-
closed the window.
There should be a little chat box that pops up in the screen and it allows you to hang.
Well, I'm in the new meeting, but I don't see the old meeting anymore. So,
Yeah.
you know what? He can end the old meeting. That'll get me off. I don't care.
Once Lonnie comes back, we'll start.
Well, Daniel's on this one now. See, let's join this one. Mark, where are you?
I am in Provincetown.
I was gonna figure either you've got a really good background or you're on a beach somewhere or something. And Chris is still at work, it looks like.
Yeah, is that work? Yeah.
Fake.
Fake work.
What's behind you? What's your view? Are you in Boston?
That's Boston.
No, it's
Are you able to tell if, are you able to tell if Dr. Fitzpatrick is on by phone?
He is on.
Oh,
I'm
super.
here.
Oh, good. Thank
Thank you for asking. For the record, I'm actually at Dr. Fitzpatrick's 73rd birthday party with his two grandsons.
Ah,
Happy birthday.
no kidding.
Thank you. That was only an explanation in case there's background noise.
I think we're gonna have Mark sing you happy birthday, Dr. Fitz, while we're waiting.
Oh,
No, actually, let him have Mark save that.
Thank you.
That's all right, Mark.
No, something, maybe appointments to historical.
Kim, can you check on Lonnie and see where he is?
He's in a car, he told me.
Yeah, I just texted him.
I just texted him. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Says he's almost back.
You know, town meetings run way smoother than this.
Oh.
Just saying.
Well, this had to happen because of the new chairman changeover. It has to, start off.
I was just gonna say it, Mark. We wanted to break you in just right, buddy.
You probably thought 4 people in the meeting, I'll be done in 25 minutes. This is awesome.
We were a bit surprised why no one was on. It's like, I know Ann wants to talk about Trask land and the Applewood project. And I'm like, well, maybe she's just busy. I don't know.
Yeah, right. There's Jane. She's back.
Yeah. Thank you.
See, Jane, you got
Meeting
the
now, or we're just talking to one another.
All right, now we're going to start. We're going to recap what we've done and then continue on. So far we have taken care of the Grandview situation, so that's been voted on. I believe there's a question about that from Kelly.
Yeah. Yep. Hi, Mark. Hi, everyone.
Hi there.
So thank you for approving that. We really appreciate it. Just like most small businesses, we're kind of getting decimated here by COVID. So I had submitted, kind of late, another application for, to have the structure, the tent actually put up. Was that included, or was it just the extension of, the liquor license?
So I can speak to that if you'd like me to, Mark.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah, so the tent, it just needs to have the building inspector approval. So that was submitted to the building department. It's not in the purview of the selectmen. They'll come by and inspect the tent and then and let you know that it was all set.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
It wasn't
I'm
fun.
not sure why I'm seeing like a shared screen. It's kind of weird. We discussed and accepted the Trask property.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
So, do you want me to move forward then with the 5-acre plan that was done?
Well, I think we had to just accept it as is with the life estate at this point.
Correct, but we can still offer that plan to Jeffrey. The town can do it instead of having it done before the town accepted it.
Kim, what are we? I guess I'm just confused on how that happens, how that works out.
So, well, it would be a separate agreement now, basically because you've accepted the donation with the life estate. You now would work out the agreements of the life estate with the person. So that was something that was already previously worked on over the last year or so. So there is a proposal that's available. Anne is asking if you would like her to continue presenting that previous proposal, or you want to start from scratch, or you want to consider something else. We should try to make an agreement with this person.
I think go ahead.
I think that the agreement should be worked through with legal counsel, with Cindy and Mr. Gagner's attorney. The legal people should be working this out.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine. And we can decide, when the time comes that there's an agreement between the town and Mr. Gagner's attorney, then we can determine if we're accepting those terms, and we'll vote on that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, somehow it seems like the select board should sort of decide what direction you want to go in, because having the lawyers work out the details, they need to have some guidance. For example, the 5-acre plot is done. We have the plan, and we could move forward with that. One of the reasons it wasn't accepted in this deal is that an outside party from the trust got involved, and so the trust said, they didn't want to move forward. So I feel like there needs to be more guidance for what town council is going to be doing.
Yeah. Kim, do you think that would be something for executive session on negotiations?
I think it's worth having, now that we have accepted this, I think it's worth having a meeting to discuss options with council and with their council at a different time. I think there's a lot of different ways we might end up going. So I think the board could probably have a meeting just for that. And I do think some of it would be an executive session.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hello.
Hi. Just wanted to let you know I am actually here.
Hi.
Hi. You're talking about Trask.
Yes. So the board has already voted to accept it. So Anne's question was about next steps, and in the sense of moving forward. So the board is talking about having the councils come together with an agreement. But Ann is suggesting that the board give direction about the agreement at this point, and I was just saying maybe we should have another meeting to sort of get caught up on where we're at and what our options are with council.
I agree.
Jane
Can
Lowell.
we
for
do it
Gills.
before the 15th?
Hello?
But
We
do
don't
we
need to-
have to come to do we have to come to terms on the details of the life estate before the 15th, because we just accepted the land?
I can tell you this, the letter you received had a proposed deed attached to it. Our conversations with the trustees have been that they want to close the books. They want you to accept the offer, that the gift as given to you, which was with the life estate, and they do not want to negotiate anything else.
Right.
And their message to us was, if the board did not want to accept those terms, they would view that as a rejection of the gift and would give it to the alternate beneficiary.
Right.
That being said, if the board has voted to accept the gift as written in the trust document with the life estate, then you have accepted the gift on those terms.
Right.
And if we would like to have a meeting to discuss what, if anything else, that may or may not entail, we can do so.
Okay.
But I think the message has to be prior to the 15th, that we at least want to talk to them, or that we at least want to have a conversation about potential next steps.
Okay, I got a quick question. So we have accepted it with the life estate, closed the books, the deal's done, the town owns it, and then we can work the deal separately with the life estate. It's there if we wanted to work a deal for land with them.
Alani, I can't sit here and tell you that that is definitely the case. I can tell you that if you accept it with the life estate, that is what the trust document said you were entitled to. Once the trustees close their books, I do not know what their view of monitoring what you're doing with the land is. I don't know what options you may or may not have that may or may not be questioned by anybody. So I can't sit here and tell you that.
I'm not saying that we should do anything. I'm not saying we should do anything
you-
illegal here. I'm saying that the way we just accepted it, it's accepted with the life estate. Anything else we move forward on would just have to be negotiated and make sure we did it in a legal manner. That's all, right?
Anything you negotiated with anybody would be subject to scrutiny by anyone looking at the terms of the trust to ensure that whatever was discussed was consistent with the trust document. So does that mean we can have discussions? I believe we can have discussions.
Okay.
Particularly among ourselves.
Right. Okay, but nothing.
But by
we're
voting
good to go
accept it
now.
with the
There's
life
no-
estate, that's what you've done.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Jane, did you have a question or comment?
No, it's been answered. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so we did taking care of that. The next thing is consider Applewood MOU. Ann, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, this is an open space subdivision on Providence Road, and it's basically just saying that the developer will give us the open space, that they'll give us a check to do the conservation restriction, which they did already. It's pretty basic. There was just one point on it that there's this easement through one of the lots, and the town just needs to make sure that they have approval power over what that easement says so that the public can access the open space. And I mean, Cindy could answer this probably, but I don't think that would be an issue. It shouldn't be a big issue. So at some point, the select board would have to sign it, planning board, and then Applewood.
That's correct. I have been in touch with their attorney. He had a question about paragraph 2. And I was unclear as to what he was talking about. It had to do with lot 5. But I'm sure that, you know, that's something that'll be worked out. But he just hasn't called me back yet about what he was referencing, what he meant.
So I just wanted to give you a heads up that I think it's on the document, it's just the chair has to sign it. And going forward, since the LID bylaws were passed, this should be a much easier process.
Okay. Chris or Lonnie, any questions?
Those are.
I think I'm a little bit confused on this. So we have a motion here to approve a MOU, but I think I just heard Cindy say that there's things that need to be adjusted in it. So what am I approving? What are we approving?
Cindy? I got that.
I'm trying to get to you guys. Am I still there?
Yeah.
You are approving it. I would say approve it subject to town council approval of terms. Because the detail we're talking about isn't going to be anything substantive, or else I'd bring it back to the board.
Is there a reason why we have to rush to this, or can we get this thing done and then bring it back to us once we know? I haven't looked at this thing. Only thing I know is that we need an easement. That's all I know.
I think Ann's in the better position to answer any question about timing.
I mean, if you want to save it for the next meeting, that's fine. It's pretty routine in terms of an open space subdivision, but why don't we just save it for the next meeting and you can look this over, and then if you have questions, I can answer them next meeting.
I mean, I'd appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. I haven't had an opportunity to really look at this. It may be standard or not standard, but if it was cut and dry and we had the documents in front of us, then I'd feel more comfortable with it.
Okay. Well, as long as there's no time issue, then we can do that.
Yeah, next meeting should be fine.
All right. We started to talk about the CARES Act funding for Mendon Upton Regional School District and BBT, but that's when we realized that there were other people not on our call and were somewhere else, so we stopped there. So Kim started to chat about that, and then she said, is Jay on? Is Dr. Fitzpatrick on? And the answer is no. There we are. So let's start with, should we start with BBT? So Dr. Fitz back to his birthday dinner.
Well, first of all, thank you for the consideration. We monitor the fact that the more recent federal stimulus CARES Act allocation was directed to municipalities and not school systems or other entities. And so we, like Mendon Upton, are reaching out to our municipal partners and asking for a shared, allocation. Specifically, my request when asked was a request of $25,000. It's almost like a line of credit where if the Mendon would consider directing $25,000 of its set-aside award, then Valley Tech would use that to enhance its distance learning, remote learning, which is a special challenge for us given the licensing and demand of the computers we use for engineering and so many other programs. And Valley Tech would be expected to provide the documentation, specific documentation, how that would be spent in compliance with the reporting that would be requested of the town. Is that a clear understanding of the request that I'm advancing?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Just curious, have other towns contributed in any way yet or committed anything?
Yes. Yeah, it's being reviewed in multiple settings. Upton supported a $25,000 request at their last Board of Selectmen's meeting, although the Finance Committee was also present. And in the communication that I sent to Mendon, I also included Mike Maroli, as chair of the Finance Committee, as well as the town administrator, to have everyone be aware of the request. So only one town has taken action, and it was favorable. Other towns have it set for their various meetings, select meetings and others, and they've indicated support from either the Finance Committee chair or the town administrator in other settings as it is advanced to their formal action by their board. Does that answer that question?
Yes, thank you. Okay, questions from Chris or Lonnie?
I don't have any real questions for Dr. Fitzpatrick, but Mark, but what I guess for a point of order, we have 3 requests on here, and we have a certain bucket of money. So I'd like to hear from the 3 representatives before we start allocating funds out. So if we could go through everybody, because if we hear that there's other pressing needs in certain buckets and we start voting them one at a time, I think that we might find that there's other urgencies. I just want to make sure that we're not shooting ourselves in the foot. So I support Dr. Fitzpatrick in the money, but I just want to make sure we go through all the other requests first before we start voting on these.
Mark, Dr. Fitzpatrick, the specific allocations which were distributed, in multiple electronic formats, indicated an award of $545,141 for Mendon. Just in case that's helpful.
Yeah, we know what our numbers are, Dr. Fitzpatrick. I think what I have, the Mendon Upton is looking for regional school district, just looking for some money, potentially the police station, et cetera. So I'd like to hear from them as well. And I don't want to keep you on the phone too long, but I'd like to hear what they're looking for as well.
Of course.
Okay. So then with that, Jay, do you want to talk about your requests from the school?
Sure. Thanks a lot. Nice to see everybody finally. I had sent this in about 6 weeks ago. We're looking to use some of the town's money to purchase iPads for kindergarten through 5th grade. On the chance that we are remote learning, we'd be prepared to do that. We had some issues this spring and having to go out and get devices because we didn't have enough, and we had families that didn't have them in their homes, or they had 3 kids and 1 device. On top of that, it would certainly help us out because we've been trying to get them into the elementary schools, not to send home with students, but to keep them in the classrooms. So it would kill 2 birds with 1 stone by doing this. Our request is fairly sizable. It's $180,922. It's for 550 iPads and cases that go along with them. I went to Upton last week with a request for 650, which was about $214,000. They approved it. The reason for the difference is we based it on enrollment. This is based on the number of kids that Mendon has in Clough and 5th grade at Misco. So that's where our request is coming from. And we're trying to get both towns to have a proportional share based on their enrollment. So, I realize it's a sizable request, but again, I think that this would serve the school district well. And we understand if you told me I have, all these things we've got to pay for in the town, but assuming that you don't, and I know you've already made a fairly sizable request, this would be beneficial to the school district in many ways.
Okay. All right. And Don, do you want to talk about the request to the police station?
Sure. It's Don Moran. So if you recall, back in April, we put the building portion of the project on hold due to COVID-19. Then when we resumed it, we had a change proposal to resume the work with the contractor assuming the cost, and then we were going to work them out later. So I don't have the detailed number today. I was hoping to have it. He's promised to have it to me by tomorrow. But as of through last week, for construction change directive number 5, which allowed us to proceed with the new building. They estimate there's COVID-related costs to be around $50,000 through last Friday. There could be some more because they're finishing up work now, but that's their estimate. I do not have details and it has not been scrubbed, but I just, as Selectman Burke mentioned earlier, there's money's getting allocated now. I wanted to make it clear that there are some COVID-related charges that are hitting the project that were unforeseen, and I wanted to bring them to the select board's attention. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact number now. When we approved the change directive back in May, they estimated the charges would be about 52,000, and right now they're about 50,000. So I think that's a good number. Having said that, they're not 100% complete with everything, so it could spill a little more over the next couple of weeks. But that's all the information I have at this time, unfortunately.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman, on that?
Chris, yep, go ahead.
So Dawn, the out of that estimate, $60,000, which just took my breath away, are we saying that we are obligated to pay those funds due to the terms of the contract, or do we believe that there are items that we're not going to be responsible for and it's not going to be that high?
So I can take a stab at that, Mr. Chairman. When we had this discussion, and I'll defer to town council in a moment, we had a discussion with their lawyer and our town council at the time when we allowed them to continue the work. We agreed we would not agree on who is responsible for the costs until sometime later. So I'm bringing it here today because I don't know if we're responsible or not. But if we are, I wanted to make you aware of it because those charges are going to be, the general contract is going to request payment for them. I now need to defer to town council and say, I think we need to now resume the conversation that we had with the general contractor's lawyer back in April when we put the work on hold.
Cindy, do you want to speak to this at all?
Did we lose Cindy?
Cindy, are you on mute? She's on here, but not responsive.
Yeah, so in summary, we had an agreement that we would allow them more time to finish the project and come back and revisit the ownership of the costs at a later date. And again, I wanted to make sure if the town is deemed responsible and we have some funding available, I wanted you to be aware of that before we allocated them to too many other places and then got saddled with it. Having said that, I think the 50,000 is excessive, and I think we're going to scrub it with them and probably reduce that. But that's where they are. That's where their estimate is today.
Kim, this question's for you. Mark, I'm going to jump in real quick. I hope you don't mind. So I don't think we need to figure out if we're responsible contractually or not tonight. Mike, how much do we have, Kim, if we were to give BVT the 25 grand, to give the school the 180 and the 330 we just allocated, that's 535. Our balance is what do we have, 541? Is that what it is?
Yeah, 545.
545, that's 10 grand we have left. So what I hear is we have $10,000 left to be able to give to the police station if we were to approve these requests tonight. And I don't know what our balances are on the police station. But if we're going to
answer that, I can answer that question if you want.
Go for it.
So from a budget standpoint, as you recall, we had 4 alternates for the project. We did not bid out the 2 alternates to demo the existing police station and to finish the parking lot. So there are funds that were allocated by the taxpayers to do those 2 items. It was around $172,000. Of that 172, we've already tapped into 41,000 of it to pay for other cost overruns. So there's around 131,000 in the budget today return back to the town to finish those two alternates. So again, it's really up to the select board. Those funds were approved with the intention of completing the entire project, which includes demoing the existing station and the parking lot. Should you choose to use those funds, to pay for COVID-19 costs as an example, and not have as much money left to do the campus work, that's certainly your decision. But I can give you the budget, line item budget, to this date if you want any more details.
Okay, so
Mark, if I may,
go ahead.
I think that we need, in my opinion, Mr. Chairman, that the police, I think anything COVID-related expenses that we've already expensed, we should be using this CARES grant for, and then whatever's left over, we should give out accordingly to the requesters. That's just my opinion. So we've already spent $330,000 right now. We're anticipating another 60 for the police station for COVID-related things, and I think that we split the rest between the schools. That's just my opinion.
Can I jump in here for a second?
Go ahead.
So let me give you just a little bit more insight into the actual CARES Act funding. It's broken down into very specific categories that have to be related to COVID. They can't be things that were potentially already in your budget from a previous fiscal year. And everything has to be specifically documented towards their use. Many of the items that get submitted are actually not even fully funded by the CARES Act. They are assumed to be funded by FEMA. We're talking about PPE and other pieces of it. So I think we have to be really careful about basically cutting checks without knowing exactly what the funding is going to be for. Now, granted, I accept that these are all good uses for the funds, especially if we don't have a need over here, but I'm reluctant, considering it's a rolling application process, to really spend it all today without knowing what's coming down the line in another month or so. The municipalities, like it or not, will have less options for funding sources as this thing goes on. And I mean, I feel for the plight of the school district. Of course I do. I get this, but I'm very cautious about where we're at financially in regard to spending, considering we haven't really fully even opened again.
So is there any reason that we need to do this tonight for the school's requests?
Can I answer that, Mark?
Yep.
Couple of things. First of all, yes, for us, if we want to have devices in place at the start of school, we needed to order them probably a week ago, so we need an answer tonight. I pushed this off. I had Upton's approval last week. We pushed it off a week to hope to get amended to do the same thing. But we need an answer tonight, one way or the other, if there's going to be anything there. I would hate to have to tell Upton we can't use their money because it's not doing their part for their students. So that's part of it as well. The stuff we're requesting absolutely complies with what the CARES Act allows for. Remote devices is in the list. It's not an unknown. I've already sent you a quote, so we already know exact prices and everything. But I do need an answer. I'm not sure about BVT, what they're looking to use the funds for. So I can't speak to that, Dr. Fitzpatrick. I'm sure he can. But from our perspective, we need some action. Again, I submitted this 6 weeks ago. It's not something that I'm just bringing to you tonight for the first time.
All right. Bonnie, did you have anything? Maybe earlier.
I don't have any questions.
So, Chris, are you good to vote on this tonight, or are you still?
To Kim's point, obviously we want to ensure that the stuff qualifies. It sounds like what Jake said, his stuff qualifies. It sounds like Dawn's stuff qualifies. And it sounds like Dr. Fitzpatrick's stuff qualifies. So now, we only have a certain bucket of money, I don't want to rob the taxpayers for COVID-related costs from the police station overruns due to having to pay the contractor money. So I'd feel comfortable, Mark, with allocating 60 grand towards the police station, giving 120 to the school, to Mendon Upton, and giving Dr. Fitz the 25. That's what I'd be.
Can I ask a comment on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Again, I was basing our proposal on enrollment. So, and I don't mean to pick on BVT, but their request for 25,000 adds up to about $312 a student for the number of kids you have. Our request is 185. If you drop it down, you're basically giving BVT 3 times the amount for their 80 students for the 1,000 kids you have in Mendon Upton.
Can I jump in, Mark? So,
yes.
My opinion is, I don't want to sit in here and argue for this money, but although we have $50,000 in money, this potential 50 to 60 for the police station, we don't even know that we owe them 10 cents. There's an argument between attorneys that need to be hashed out. We may only owe them $5,000. So that being the unknown, we can't answer that question now. I don't think we should. My opinion is not to hold up the other 2 requests that are there. We have no idea what we owe the police station yet, and I think that we should go off of that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Don. That's why I was hoping Cindy was online. I can follow up with Cindy to figure out, are we actually liable for those? Because we have not answered that question yet. So that
Sorry,
is an open
Cindy's
question.
online. She just needs to unmute her. Cindy, you got to unmute. Cindy, we can't hear you. You need to unmute your thing. You can keep talking. We can't hear you.
Maybe she's having an issue.
Ronnie, can you unmute her?
No, you can't unmute. You can only mute.
Oh, all right. Thanks for not muting me then.
So I would agree that, there's 2 clear requests that qualify for funding. And we have the police station issue that it's a big question mark over it as to whether or not, we don't even know how much, if any, we actually end up needing to pay. So I'm comfortable on voting for the school funding issues tonight.
Okay, I just one more comment. I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud here, but most likely we're going to owe something. It's more of a question mark is, can we, if we allocate a certain bucket of money to the police station, I'm just trying to avoid taking money away from the taxpayers that is truly COVID related stuff. Could we, if it's not used and we determine that we don't owe that money, can we then apply that for something else at a future date? Like give it back, give the remaining back to the school or something like that, or to something else that's COVID related.
Probably a Kim question.
It's a rolling submission for the CARES Act, so we could, basically to hold the money in the bank until we need it. But I know that Jay has a deadline that he has to meet, that's next week. So, and the police station is really unknown. So, I mean, there's room there. It's hard to say. I mean, we still have to get FEMA's approval on a lot of this too. So it's really hard to determine the right direction when you're not sure, you're not guaranteed any of this funding. I mean, we will submit these requests if that's what the board wants, but it's not guaranteed. So I don't know what to say besides that. I mean, that's the way that it is right now in the world, right? Which is the funding is available, we can request it. They can say yes or no. They can also say that FEMA should be covering the costs of it instead of CARES.
So the only comment is on our request, iPads don't qualify, devices don't qualify under FEMA. They only qualify under the CARES Act. Otherwise, we would have done that. And you're right, I do have a deadline. I need to kind of move forward as fast as I can to try and get school going. So, I would appreciate the support if we could get it forward.
Well, what's happening here, Mr. Chairman, is that we have a request from the school, all schools with a fixed number, and we also have a motion on here for the police station, which we don't know what the number is. So if we approve the schools tonight, we're not going to be able to approve the police station because we don't know what the number is.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, this is Chief Kersey, real quick.
Go ahead.
So with the money we have left, Don can probably back me on this, we've dug into it already. So if we are responsible for that amount due to COVID, let's say it's $50,000 or $60,000, I know when the project gets turned over, I'm probably going to be a big part of it with the town administrator finishing off the other two subs. We won't have enough money to do even close to what we need to do. If we take $60,000 out of that, the rest of the money with it, we was approved for the actual station, you're still going to have a building up there next year. We're not going to be able to tear down that building and finish off the parking lots, and they're going to be separate. So just so you know, I'm just telling you that ahead of time. So if 6 months, a year from now comes about, that's where this is rooting from. If we don't have that money, then we're going to have to come up with that money somewhere to finish the project for the whole town hall campus.
Which is my concern.
Can I just add to it? I'm looking at the CARES Act. It says that, first of all, you have to spend the money by December 30th. And the things that it qualifies for, I mean, do you even know if the stuff that you're talking about with the construction project on the police station are eligible for CARES Act?
We're assuming that they're carrying costs because of COVID and they qualify.
Yeah.
They followed all the regulations that the governor set out because of COVID. So all these expenses are related to exactly delaying the project and everything that was set forward from the governor for them to work during this time.
Quite
Look,
honestly, I don't see anything in here.
I think we have problems all around, no matter where you look. Right now, we have what's in front of us. If we owe money to the contractor, again, we don't know. It's the unknown right now. We will cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, we have this money. We have a whole issue with education coming up. We don't even know how that's going to work out. It changes on a daily basis. So I don't. We're going to have, if there's $10,000 left over, we have $40,000 somewhere if we have to make sure that we finish this project. We had a whole thing with COVID to tear through everything, and it's uprooted everything. And we're over here, I think, arguing or discussing a minuscule amount of money in the grand scheme of things, when we can grab $40,000 out of stabilization to cover it. We can use FinCom reserve if we have to. There's a million other places we can work through this number. Now, granted, I know the budget's going to be tight coming up, but these things are not just going to be thrown. We're not throwing money out in the yard here. We should we have the numbers that are in front of us.
Yeah. Lonnie, I gotta disagree with you on some of the statements that you just made, but I got to be honest, we're trying to be strategic here. We're trying to be strategic on an upcoming budget. We're trying to be strategic on upcoming costs. $183,000 is a big ask from the school. If we cut them down to 120, it may not meet their entire need, but they're planning for the future. We're trying to plan for the future on the municipal side as well. We're trying to give enough out to everybody so everybody can do something, and we're trying to be strategic here. That's the point that I'm trying to make, is we're trying to be strategic. I don't think there's any more reason to debate this. I mean, I can call for motions and then we can just vote it in.
We can hear Cindy now if you just want to get him.
I just wanted to let you know I'm available if you have any specific questions for me anymore.
All right, well, let's vote on. We'll accept the motion for Upton Regional School District.
I move to approve the request for the Upton Regional School District for CARES Act funding, and give me a value. Mark on
180, 922.50.
180, 180, 108,922, correct?
And 50 cents is on the quote, but we'll take the 50 cents if you want to round.
You're so nice.
Okay, second, is there a second?
Sorry, second.
All in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Burke, nay.
Real aye. Okay, BBT request.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
I move to approve the request of the BBT for CARES Act funding.
Second.
I need a value, $25,000, sorry, 25,000.
Okay.
Mark, are you frozen? Looks like Mark's frozen.
I can hear you.
Oh.
There you go, this is back.
Do we have a second?
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Burke, aye.
Okay. We're not going to address the police station one tonight because we don't have
Mr. Chairman, this is Don. I just didn't know if you wanted to just set up an action with Cindy. I'll take an action to work with Cindy to determine whether the town is liable for the general contractor's COVID-19 expenses that he's going to be billing us in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. Thank you.
Happy to work with Don.
Perfect. Okay, next item is.
Dr. Fitz, happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. I do want to say thank you on behalf of our students. Also, my students contributed and we received acknowledgement of that for some of the police station design activities. We're glad to do that. And lastly, it's interesting when people attempt to do the comparisons and contrast because our request of the town was roughly 16,000 fewer than the previous year in our assessment. We appreciate the support the town gave us at the town meeting and certainly recognize the support we garnered through this process. We did attempt to be conservative and reasonable in our request to recognize the multiple concerns you need to address. And we're proud to work with the town and we'll continue to do that. But thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Consider changing member numbers in the Economic Development Committee from 7 to 5 members. Is Tom here?
Hello.
Hi, Tom.
How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
What's going on with the Economic Development Committee?
So when we first were created as a 7-member body. It's never been filled completely in the entire existence of the EDC. And, you know, a couple members were not getting reappointed this time around, so that would bring us down to 4 members, which, you know, given that we're a 7-member body, 4 is our quorum. You know, if somebody can't make it, we won't be able to meet. Now, you could obviously put out ads for more people, but just given that what we do, I don't know that 7 members is required. I think the 5-member body is more appropriate and allows us to get more done as well. So I, you know, this is something we did talk about at a previous EDC meeting since we did have trouble getting that quorum of 4 people sometimes. So.
Okay. Thoughts from Chris or Lonnie?
Sounds fine to me.
Okay.
I'm good.
Right, I'll accept the motion.
Move to change the makeup of members of the Economic Development Committee from 7 to 5 members.
Second.
All in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Burke, aye.
Real aye. Okay, thanks, Tom. Next, consider municipal hearings officer. Kim, do you want to talk through this? I'm just reading.
I would love to. You know how I love to talk about this every couple of years. So the town is required to annually appoint a municipal hearings officer, and there is a stipend attached of $2,500. I don't know how long the history is, but there is a list that rotates in which employees who have taken the training get onto the list and then rotate who is the person that comes up annually in order to receive the stipend for the hearing officer. We have not used this position, to my knowledge, ever. That being said, it's on the agenda tonight because we have two requests like we did a couple years ago, you may recall. And one is from the person that is next up on the list. And I know that we have two newer employees who have also taken the training in order to qualify to be on the list. But we received just one letter from one of those two. So quite frankly, I'll just say my piece, which I think this thing is a lot more trouble than it's worth. I think we should assign it to one employee and leave it there forever in order to avoid this every year. But I could tell you the last time that we did this, we voted to give it to the person who was due up next and then add the new persons to the bottom of the list.
Yeah, and I really, at that time, I didn't think that was the right thing to do, because if it's all about giving everyone their turn, then if you just had your turn 2 years ago or whatever, 3 years ago, and there's someone that's not done it yet, then they should get it first. That's just fair in my mind, instead of just putting them at the bottom of the list. I mean, at the time we had that whole big discussion, that was my position, and it still is my position. So, thoughts from fellow board members?
It doesn't matter to me. Just make a motion for someone.
I agree with you, Mark, and I also agree with Kim that, I think it's going to get to a point where we just need to appoint somebody who's going to have, continuously have this position. So we don't have to go through this each year of, horse trading or bickering over whose turn it is. But I agree that if we have new employees in town that are able to do that, then get their turn, and that's what we should do right now since we don't have another process.
Right. So in that case, then there should be a motion for Ellen's. Go ahead.
Well, I don't want to disagree. See, this is the problem, because there is no better candidate than another in this situation. Right. You're not choosing between anything besides past practice. I would recommend, however, that if you're going to change this, perhaps you change it starting next year so that there is time, and it starts with whoever. I'm just saying my two pieces. I just think some time to understand that the old way of processing it is no longer in practice could be helpful, but it's ultimately your decision.
Well, you know what? You could wait a year and the same thing will happen anyway. So my thought is just do it and get it over with. Rip the Band-Aid off and just end it.
My only concern, and I hate to drag this out any longer, is that when you have attrition, so say Ellen didn't get elected in the next election. Now you have attrition again. Now there's somebody new constantly coming in, or there's attrition in the positions. Are we saying it's the person, or should it be the position that is rotating it around?
Can I interject something?
Sure.
I know you'd be sorry that I unmuted myself. Is there a policy in place now?
No.
Written policy?
No.
Okay. I personally think a policy in place is a good thing, because then you can change the policy as you wish. And I think that there's wisdom in both positions. I do think that there's something to be said for if you're going to change from the past practice, that you might want to give some credence to whether you give notice to people that that's what's going to happen. On the other hand, the fact that there is no policy in place does not mean you can't do whatever you want right now. But I do suggest that whatever you do decide to do over the next year, you revisit this issue and put a policy in place for going forward that you're all happy with.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Can we table this till the next meeting and put a policy in place?
You know, we could simply continue the practice for this year, have a policy in place for next year, or just assign it as a part of a person's position in years going forward and it doesn't rotate. I mean, find the most appropriate, I mean, to your point, Lonnie, about positions, it should belong with a certain position, basically. You know, we could determine that through a process of which office it really does belong in.
Or we could just get rid of parking tickets and the whole thing goes away.
Mr. Chairman, Chief Kessler here. Can I just throw something in?
Sure. Right.
Just a few years ago, when a bunch of fire departments in the region were talking about this, being able to start ticketing the municipal hearings officer, there was a move to try and do regionalization. Uxbridge at the time wasn't involved in having a regional municipal officer, but this may be an opportunity, seeing as the volume is so little. That's all I have. Thanks.
Good idea. Well, it seems like there's maybe a need to put a pause on this and not act on this tonight. That shouldn't be an issue, right, Kim?
I honestly don't know. I don't know if we're required to appoint one at the beginning of a fiscal year, or if we're required. I think we're supposed to have one, but I don't even know if that means we could appoint them if a situation arises. I'm not sure what the legality is around this position. Cindy may.
And I know that's coming my way, and I have not looked at that either. I didn't know this was coming up. I'm happy to look at it and get back to you on it. You know, given all annual fiscal and other deadlines for the change of fiscal year are in limbo due to COVID, I'm not sure that you're already in July anyway. I don't know if, and it's not like you have anything scheduled for them in the next week or two. I don't have an answer for you. I'm happy to get back to you on it, but I'm unaware of something that would make the decision tonight required.
Mr. Chairman, quick question.
Go ahead.
I mean, we could make an appointment tonight with Ellen based off of your point that you brought up when you did your opening statement, and we could work out the policy and the change for next year, easy enough. And that way we get the position appointed for this year, to Kim's point, and then that gives us time to get through the year and really make a determination on how we want to manage this going forward.
I'm fine with that. Bonnie, any concerns on that?
Nah, just make the motion.
Okay.
So I move to appoint Ellen Agro as the municipal hearings officer for a term to expire 6/30/21.
Second.
All in favor?
Burke, aye.
Real aye. Thank you, Ellen. We'll start working through that policy change and figuring that all out. So this isn't a discussion anymore, because it really is a waste of our time.
I know.
Okay. 1 year appointments.
So I move to approve 1 year appointments as per below list with the term to expire 6/30/21. Mark, do you want me to read these out? Or as posted on the agenda?
Just as posted.
Second.
All in favor?
Burke, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real aye. 3 year appointments.
I move to approve the 3-year appointments as per the below list for the term to expire 6/30/23, as listed on the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Burke, aye.
Real eye. Do we
And that-
have,
And
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Kim, do we have end of year transfers? Can't hear you.
We definitely do. I sent you all an email about 5 o'clock. I can probably share it on my screen.
I did see that.
Yeah, hold on. And just talk about it a bit. Hold on.
Folks, while he's doing that, I have to sign off to go to another meeting. I appreciate your help tonight.
Take care, Jay.
Bye, Jay.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay, I think I'm supposed to be on that meeting too. Is that for the reentry meeting?
Yes, it is. I
Yeah.
think tonight's just an initial preliminary, but that's what I'm headed to.
Okay, thanks. I'll catch up with you after.
Yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya. Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing. Can you see my screen? No.
No, hang on. I'll share it.
Okay. Yes, share. 1 second.
Got it.
Well, I hit share. It just hasn't done it yet.
Well,
How about now?
nope. I mean, I have it. Looking
Hold on.
at it, so,
Share. How about now?
yes.
Okay, excellent. So, unlike this year, we're kind of in a bit of a different situation, right? Because we've been spending pretty lightly for the last few months. So the transfers that are on here, the only major one is the one that's at the top, which you'll recall is from the accountant's salary line to the contractual expenses line. So you can see this 41 there into 46. There's actually also money in the expense line in the accountants that balances that out a bit more, but we have, excess funds in a lot of places that just make it easier when you just see this. So everything else that's on this list are minor, either rounding things or things that we changed in November and didn't just figured we'd transfer at the end of the year, but they're all pretty small. And then on the other side from the froms, we actually, we have FinCom reserve and selectmen, and town hall fuel, and then the dog officer, renegotiated that contract. And so there's savings there. But, in addition to all of these sources, we have, I just started making a list before. And we have just from a quick list, $300,000 left over on the expense side. So these should be pretty straightforward.
Okay. Questions, either Tony or Chris?
I'm just confused on the spreadsheet from the to and froms. So like if you look at number 1, it's town account salary, it's $41,000 there, and then it says you're putting 46,000 into it. Am I looking at this right, Kim?
So there's two columns. They just the froms. The 41,000 doesn't correlate to the column on the right. It's
Right.
just the total is the total for both.
Right. You take from different lines that's left over. I just put the accountant one there on the same line so you could get a sense of why we'd be transferring such a large amount.
Okay.
We could have taken 85,000 from many different lines in the budget. I just chose these.
I just remember, when we did our sheets, we used to always have them backwards, and it confused the heck out of us. And I'm just making sure that you're transferring the right amount of money. That's all. All right. I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
All right. Take a
I
motion.
move to approve end-of-year transfers presented by the town administrator.
Second.
All in favor?
Burke, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real aye. Let's see. We have some items not anticipated, which is junk license for David Lowell.
Move to approve the renewal of a junk license for 4 Main Street, David Lowell, pending the receipt of positive routing slips.
Second.
All in favor?
Tenio, aye.
Real aye. Consider amending approval for Bay State Trail Riders.
I move to amend the date for the Bay State Trail Riders Annual Polka Ride out of Inman Hill Road from July 12th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to Sunday, July 19th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Rain date, Sunday, July 26th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Burke,
Tenio,
aye.
Real aye. All right. That is the end of the meeting.
Motion
Take
to
a-
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Burke, aye.
Aye. Tenio,
Real
aye.
aye. Right, thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Enjoy Provincetown.
Peace.